Everyone, hello. Hope you're doing okay. Yeah, just sort of an apology for the state of the live at the end of this mystery review. Basically, I'll probably do part 2 next week or something like that. I think just to do the ones I didn't do and maybe a couple more. We'll see. But anyway, long story short is it was the same reason I had problems on Wednesday with why I was a bit late because it's a bit of it's slightly technical, so bear with it. But the long story short is that. When my router converts to 5G or starts using 5G, it has amazing download speeds, ridiculous, well, probably normal download speeds really, but good download speeds, amazing for me. But the upload speeds go terrible. So not as good as 4G basically. Now they should be better, but for whatever reason they're not, they're worse. So, and of course when I'm streaming, it's uploading my image to you that is important, not the download speed. I don't want any decent download speed. So, because I need to have I think it's something like between, I think it's 5 megabytes a second or whatever it is, upload speed. 9 is optimal, I think, or maybe it's, maybe I need 9. Anyway, whatever I need something better than what I was getting, which was something like 1. And basically, yeah, and that's the problem. So it's my router is changing to 5G when it's available, which normally you'd think would be a good thing, but in this case for me it's not, and I can't stop it doing it. It just does it automatically. And it's been the problem where I've had issues in the past where it's been constantly. I think before my upload speed for 5G was reasonably good. It was good enough, but it kept dropping the connection, so it couldn't keep 5G before. So it'd connect to 5G and then drop it, and that's why in previous live videos I've had issues with the network connection just disappearing and then going back and then disappearing, and I couldn't stop it. And in this case I've got the same problem where it's changing to 5G and I can't stop it changing to 5G. So I tried moving my router around the house, which is what I was doing on Wednesday for what's it called, Stash Watch. And eventually I found a place where it couldn't receive 5G, but unfortunately today that place received 5G about an hour into the stream. I thought it was because more people had wandered past and were using up the bandwidth of 4G, but it wasn't. It connected to 5G. And that's why I couldn't do anything about it because, no matter what I was doing, it was still connected to 5G and it just wasn't giving me a good connection. Now, I know those you think, why on earth am I doing all this? Why am I not using a decent router? It's because I don't have super fast broadband in my area, which is what you need for decent upload speeds. Basically download speeds don't matter for streaming. Upload speeds do, to an extent anyway, so don't matter to an extent. So yeah, really, so it's just a real pain, and I just wish I had decent broadband in my area. You'd think I would. I'm not far out the side of the city centre of Manchester, but I just don't, and I don't know why it is. I think it's just this one pocket of Manchester, probably where I am, just doesn't have it, and it's really frustrating actually because if most people probably don't need decent upload speeds, but I do for what I'm trying to do for this channel and other things. Really irritating uploading all the videos. It's one of the main issues in my in my YouTube career at the moment really. So it's to the point where I have considered, do I need to move house in order to get this, to take this further, but anyway, so I've looked in. You'd think in your router you could just tick a box to say don't use 5G. You can't. Of course you can't do that. Why would it be that simple? Well, technically you can actually. I've looked online for it, and I don't know if those of you know, sometimes if you right click on a website, you can usually find an option called inspect, and you can inspect the code basically. It used to be a lot more powerful back in the day, but nowadays things are structured so that you can't really see most of the code, but you can still see some quite important options. And basically the options to turn off 5G are hidden in the router settings. Basically, I don't know if you probably may or may not know, but you can access the router settings usually by a generic website address, but it's an IP address generally, like a load of numbers, usually 192.168.0.1 or something along those lines, something similar. You get into your router basically, and you can turn it off, change all the settings, do all sorts of clever stuff. And basically, when I go in there, the options to turn off 5G are disabled basically. Well, they're not disabled, they're invisible, you can't see them. So you have to right click inspect, and then you can change the attributes of the different various parts of the HTML to enable you to see them again. And things like the save button, to save the changes is disabled, well, is invisible. You can't see it, so you have to, basically the solution is to tinker with the output so you can actually see what the options are available there to disable 5G. So the problem with this is though, when I tried to do this, all of a sudden it started to work, or it seemed to work, but then I think it's because it's lost the 5G connection. So I can't tell for sure whether doing this change actually works and stops it using 5G or not, because it just stopped using it, it just lost the connection. So I tried moving it to another part of the house which previously was constantly getting 5G, and typically it wasn't getting it anymore because I reset the router to factory settings, so it was as it was prior to making these changes. So it's just a convoluted nightmare. It's such a pain. It's so unnecessary. And it's unfortunately just what I'm trying to get, just got to try and sort it. So basically what I've got to try and do now is wait till it gets a 5G connection, make all these changes again, which I spoke about, making those options visible, saving the settings, and hope it works, because there's nothing I can do if that doesn't work. It should work. But whether it does, I have no clue. So hopefully it will. That's the only option I've got, other than perhaps throwing a blanket over the router to hopefully sever the 5G connection, because as those you may or may not know, but 5G basically is very temperamental. You need to really it can be blocked by things like Windows and stuff like this. So normally you'll never really get a decent 5G connection unless you've got an antenna outside your door, a mast or whatever. Generally exaggerating a bit, but anyway, so the thing is, so I'm hoping that might be what I have to resort to. I might have to literally resort to throwing blankets and things over the router to stop it getting the 5G connection. I might have to start doing that, and of course that might have a negative impact on the 4G connection. I don't know. So a complete nightmare, really, just so unnecessary and so frustrating. But anyway, thank you so much for turning up. It was a real pain, really, because it was such a good turnout today for the live. It was normally everyone is usually not available at the same time, but today most people seem to turn up. So it was a real shame that this happened today. So I'm really disappointed, actually. It's really frustrating, and I've had such a pain of a week, really, one reason or another. So this was kind of the last thing I needed, really, this week. But nonetheless, that's the way it goes sometimes. It's just the way it goes. But at least now I know the problem, and I hopefully can find a solution, and may have one. Whether it works, I don't know. But anyway, a bit of a technical one this week over this update. So I don't know. Anyway, we'll see if we can sort it. Hopefully, now I can fix it next time. I mean, the ideal solution is for ultra-fast broadband to be available in my area, and it'll actually be cheaper for me as well. That's the ironic thing. It's actually more expensive for me to have, this 5G router and this, that, and the other, because it's just, because it's not a very, as you've seen, it's a rubbish, unstable connection generally, but it's usually just good enough, to survive for the lives and things. But I'm constantly having issues with this router. I'm constantly having to reset it in order to make it work again. It constantly stops working. This was the very original problem, where it eventually just, for whatever reason, just died essentially. So I had to actually do a factory reset to make it start working again. So every time I want to use it, pretty much every day, I factory reset the router now, because otherwise it might just conk out at any time. So, I mean, honestly, it's so much trouble. It's such a pain. It really is. It's the bane of my life, really. I mean, there's lots of worse things that can be going on in your life, but this is literally affecting me every single day, and it's a complete nightmare. So anyway, so enough of all that nonsense. Hopefully, it's really nice that everyone turned up, as I say. So I don't want to be so negative about this, but it is frustrating that that I feel like the channel's just held back to some respects because of this. Because of course, if people come to watch the channel and things, it's frustrating when this happens, and you might not bother next time. So to get to a point where a lot of people turn up and then this happens, it's like, well, you probably won't bother doing it next time, you see. And that's what's really annoying about it. So I'm so frustrated with it, really. But anyway, that's the technical update for this time. Thanks again, and hope thanks for understanding, and hope you don't mind. And fingers crossed it's not put you off turning up next time. But what a pain. There's just nothing. I had to just give up in the end, because I couldn't fix it, because I didn't realise it was the 5G thing, and I would have then literally been running around the house trying to find, unplugging and plugging my router back in different places, hoping it didn't connect to 5G. That would have been the solution had I realised that was the problem. Or, as I say, just throwing a towel over it or something, literally throwing in the towels, I think I mentioned last time. So not literally. Well, I don't know. Not metaphorically throwing it in the towel or whatever. Anyway, you know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, enough of all this. I think I need to have a bit of a sit down now and just relax from all this nonsense, because I'm just fed up of it, really. But there we go. All right. Well, thanks very much, guys. So sorry about all that. What a pain. But anyway, hopefully you enjoyed what you did manage to see, and sorry again for all that. All right. Take care. See you soon. Bye.